when you're the target, attack, and when you're being pursued, sit still. So I don't know where I was going, but we're about to do some podcasting right now. This is Slow Horses, the finale. Let's go. And we are back again. Back in sunny locations. Looking great. And really sunny locations, yeah. And I'm in a hoodie as well. I don't know what I'm doing. Really hate myself right here. And yeah, we will be talking about Slow Horses, the final 2 episodes. Obviously, guys will be aware by now.
2 episodes.
Yeah, we kind of cover 2 Slow Horses episodes per podcast episode. So that's kind of what we're talking about now. Final 2 episodes. Final 2 bangers. I'm not even sure if you call them episodes. They're just, knockout heavyweight punches, basically. Oh, yeah. Obviously, before getting to the episode, I actually have to introduce ourselves, don't we? I'm Jibs, and I'm joined by Ayisha. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing fine. Slow Horses has been improving my life. I feel great.
Exactly. And Chris, how's it going, Chris?
Yeah, all good. Thanks for having me back, and I love this series and just the show in general. So good.
Yeah, and obviously really excited to talk about this. And I think before we get to that, just go pay some bills, do some housekeeping. For you guys. Normally, I think like when we do get sponsorships and stuff like this, kind of like where we shill for Manscaped or something, right? But not yet. I think until then, just kind of wanted to ask you guys to please review, rate, subscribe to all our platforms, slide into our DMs if you've got any suggestions.
Into our DMs.
If you want to slide into our DMs for any other reason, I always say this out loud, but no one ever slides into mine. But just give us any reviews or any.
You've never had someone slide into your DMs?
Not recently. No, I've had a couple of sliders. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Back in my day, I had some sliders, but like these days, I'm just playing it cool.
What's the appropriate application to slide into someone's DMs? I'm questioning because I think every application has a different meaning. Like if you slide into someone's DMs on Twitter versus on Instagram,
I feel like you need to be like
different, right?
Freaked out. Yeah, you need to come with some real freaky, weird shit on Twitter. Then that's kind of how because everyone on Twitter is nuts. That's kind of how we know like we're kind of on the same kind of crazy scale. In Instagram, it's a bit more polished. I would say, be a bit more normal. I'm not really on Facebook anymore.
So?
LinkedIn, don't do that. That's just weird. But
some people do though. It's like they like organize a coffee meetup to talk about like career.
That is crazy.
It turns out, they want to date.
LinkedIn is all for like corny jokes and how you can link some Usain Bolt to.
Some of the people's
being in the office 4 days a week. That's what LinkedIn is for.
Some of the like motivational speeches are just ridiculous on there, aren't they?
Yeah, but I think the day that I scroll on LinkedIn, I didn't see any motivational posts, and that'll be, what's going on in the world? Are we finally being attacked by like zombies or something? But we do have some nice things coming up. Obviously, the industry is still going on. So at the time of recording right now, I was actually speaking to Chris about this. We've got industry that's going on right now in the US, but I think by the time this comes out, I'm in the UK. So
it's October UK. So
but all our reviews are still up, so check it out. We also have like additional industry content as well in terms of theories and other bits and bobs which we're going on with the show, and other content just coming your way. And if you guys have anything that you want us to cover, I can tell you what we definitely will not be covering, and that's the Acolytes, because that just got cancelled, didn't it?
That's so nice.
I mean,
Acolyte cancelled.
But Trap. I've been covering Trap. I saw Trap the other day. Sorry,
No,
I should
you.
trap.
By the way, you spread fake news last time last time I was on by saying that we're going to cover Trap, and
That's what I'm here for, man.
I'm still here.
I'm like
Yet to
the
hear
politician. I'm like the politician who
about
just
us covering Trap, and I watched Trap, and I really loved
over
Trap.
promises and under delivers. You loved it.
And
I liked it. I liked it. Have you seen Trap,
I had
Chris?
a great time.
I've only seen
I had a
I've
great
only seen
time,
a couple
yeah.
of his films, to be honest.
I think the reason I had a great time was because I came in thinking it was going to be like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I just wanted the popcorn and a nice time. So obviously I had a great time. It was a very fun watch. Sometimes you have to just watch something for what it is as opposed to what you expect it to
just
be.
get in the car and enjoy the ride. You know, there might be a lot of bumps, and there was a lot of bumps in this film, but that's just part of the ride. You know?
Bumpy.
But
it was funny. I think it was funny.
Really, really fun.
It was funny.
Really,
Although
really fun.
no one else in my cinema was laughing as much as me, which was quite embarrassing.
Oh dear.
Actually.
Yeah, I've probably been giving you some like
people
dirty
next
eyes.
to me.
It's like, what's funny? Yeah.
They didn't get it. They just didn't get it like I do, obviously, clearly. But yeah.
I feel like it'd be like an American Psycho kind of situation where everyone watched the initial and they were like, what the hell is so funny about it? But if you watch American Psycho now, you'd be laughing all the way through.
Yes.
And you won't be like everyone else.
It's a comedy, isn't it?
All the way.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
black comedy.
Funny. It's a comedy.
It's really, really funny.
Yeah.
But those are our Trap thoughts, and I guess we can get into the episode on Slow Horses.
Do it.
I was gonna try and link Trap to Slow Horses episode, and I failed.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name in Trap?
Josh Hartnett.
Just like Josh Hartnett in Trap.
There is a link to Trap. I thought of a link to Trap.
Tell us. What's the link?
The last film Josh Hartnett was in had Gary Oldman in it.
Oppenheimer.
There we go.
Yeah.
Boom!
That's
that's podcasting, people. That's podcasting, people.
Podcasting.
There we go. Teamwork equals dreamwork, like they say.
I always forget Gary Oldman was in Oppenheimer.
He's in one scene, so easy to forget.
Yeah.
But he was
there to collect a quick bag and dip and go back to playing.
He clearly doesn't care about anything more than he cares about playing Jackson now.
Yeah, he loves it. I mean, that's what we love about him.
Opus.
That's his thing. But Slow Horses. I think both episodes were directed by Adam Randall, written by Mark Denton, Johnny Stockwood, and Will Smith. Not that Will Smith.
Did Mick not write either of these two?
Not that Will Smith.
And based on the books by Mick Herron. What are Will Herron here?
Do you have the book with you? Do you want to hold it up, Chris?
So at least one of us actually knows what he's.
There we go.
What we're talking about here.
Yes.
It's nice. It's like Brat Green. Brat Green is how I'm describing this. You know, like the Charlie cover.
Brat Green.
It's very green.
I think at the end of episode 4, we still have a lot of questions in terms of, who are these mercenaries? Who's who's the head of the who's Hugo Weaving's character? How does he relate to West Acres? How does he relate to Cartwright? Why does he want those two old men dead? What's going on here? What does Lamb fit in? And everything. And I think these 2 episodes kind of wrap everything up quite nicely and smoothly. And bangy as well. I was trying to insert the word action in there, but we wouldn't have really, really vibed with it. But yeah, really, really wrapped everything up and kind of gave us all the explanations of kind of what we wanted, didn't it?
Did you feel like this episode, when this episode ended, did you feel like there was kind of an arc going across 2 of the seasons, the previous one and this one as well?
No,
or did you feel like it was just more one season? I went away thinking there was like a lot of setup for this season and last season, surprisingly, without you knowing in the end. I feel like Forever, I think there's a lot of kind of in a way.
I guess because they hint at the stuff of his granddad in the last series.
I guess,
I think his granddad, but I also think I also think his self-development to get him to the point at which he would like take those risks. I mean, he's always been taking risks, but he's been pushing the boundary more and more as time goes on. And I can't remember the other reasons I thought this, but it did kind of feel like a bit of a continuance in a way. I know they shoot them at the same time.
Yeah, they shot 3 and 4 at the same time, so that
I know she's not
technically, but yeah,
Standish as well. Standish has quite a good arc across this series.
Standish has a good arc, and we also see Molly, I think, quite a lot in the old series. Sorry, the
she was in
series.
The previous series a lot, because this series she didn't really appear till these episodes.
Yeah, these final.
Yes, but I feel like we needed to see her then to connect with her. Now, I mean, you see what I mean?
She's not someone who's going to pop up every 5 minutes anyway, because she's like archived. So unless there's like a purpose for her, she's more background, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Chris, what do you think about these two episodes?
These two episodes, I think because we talked about this on the previous pod, there's a lot more action in this series earlier, but we still have plenty in these last two. And initially, I think it's more kind of people sitting and typical spy stuff, people sitting across desks chatting, and then it kind of escalates more in the second one. Obviously, we'll talk about that when we get to it. And there's some more shocks and twists.
That's just staple of espionage and spy.
Oh yeah.
Just quick talking.
No one is safe action in Slough House.
Bit of twist, yeah.
Except maybe Jackson. Except maybe Jackson Lamb, I think.
The funny thing is, you would think that they would be safe because they're supposed to be relatively inoperative.
I think that's the thing. You get the impression they're useless, and they could fall over a lot and hoe and stuff, and then they all get bumped off. So.
I mean,
they've improved. I actually think they've improved in their skill set over time.
Maybe not Ho, but the others, yeah.
I mean,
Ho definitely not. Ho is not improving at all. But I mean the on-field agents more so.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe he was talking. Actually, on the topic of on-field agents, the dogs didn't have a good.
No, they had a bad showing. Didn't do themselves any favors.
But I do feel like that was a hard situation to win.
Mm-hmm.
For reasons that we will speak about later, I'm sure.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the episode starts.
Speaking about, sorry, you were saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, just kind of want to go for episode 5, 6.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And we'll kind of give our thoughts on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the episode starts with Frank visits Harkness, who's head of this secret organization in Les Arbres. Les Arbres, still learning my French.
No, that's fine. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Les Arbres.
And basically he tracks Molly, who is the kind of big brain of the park, to track River, and eventually we found out that he's ex-CIA. He was a Mitch Philpott, who was another cold body. So by cold body they mean basically an ex-MI5 dead agent, right, who they use, or is it just like a created identity from MI5 or the service?
So he says that he's been impersonating someone who she thought was someone else. He was like, I'm Frank, but you'll know me as this person. And he's been using a few of the old agents' names, hasn't he?
So they've just been like chatting on online forums and stuff. And
basically,
Molly, man. Oh my God.
But, yeah. But what would you define a cold body as, then, is my question.
Is it not someone who's dead and then he's been taken by someone else?
Yeah, my understanding was someone who's...
Is that all it is?
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I think...
Because that was my understanding too. But I thought maybe there might be something else to it. But that's...
I thought it was like a kind of created identity by
the
service. But But eventually you find out that they've been chatting because she thinks he's someone else. And I'm like, how could you be so dumb? There are a lot of questions I kind of asked myself, like, how could you guys be so dumb? I guess
I guess she's not a field person, and she probably doesn't have many face-to-face meetings.
Well, she's supposed to be the Oracle. Yeah. Actually, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but she doesn't look technologically advanced as well. She's in the books.
Well, no, she's
you know what I mean?
an archivist, isn't she? And she's been around a long time. Interesting fact on her character is that the most recent book, which isn't technically a main Slow Horses book, but it's like a prequel about her. When she was a field agent in Berlin, yeah. So we have like young Jackson Lamb, young David.
She was a field agent then.
They kind of explain how she ended up in the situation she's in. So it's
in a wheelchair?
Yeah. So it has young Lamb, who's going by a different name, and then young David Cartwright. I think young Diana Taverner as well. Very briefly.
I'd love to see young Diana Taverner.
Oh well, she's in it very briefly, like one night.
Was she just like a secretary, or was she actually an agent as well?
No, secretary for David Cartwright. So yeah, so I went off tangent, but the reason I mentioned it is because Molly's in that book as like the main character.
Yeah,
well, a main character.
Sort of reminds me of is it Skyfall where M is sent like a link or something by what's the No Country for Old Men's character?
Bardem. Javier Bardem.
Yeah. And Silva, there we go.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, you ask this question, like, how can anyone be so dumb to open this link? And when she opens the link, and I think it happened to, did it happen to Hillary Clinton or something recently? And that's how they were able to like get emails. So
that was the whole scandal during the election, about her sending emails from her personal email or something.
Yeah. Because she clicked a dumb, don't click on this link unless something,
morons,
and she clicked on it, and that was it. That was how they were able to like access her emails. But so it does happen. I'm not trying to say everyone is technologically educated, but shit happens. But eventually they're joined by Patrice, who I guess you could that scene is sort of like a good backstory, for their relationship, where he fails, or he tells him about the failed this thing about the failed assassination, or just like how Shirley and Marcus are able to get away from him, and how he's how he's failed him, so he's waiting to be punished. And you could just see, the level of abuse that he's been put through from birth. Because Patrice is his son, right?
I think they hint that all the not sleeper agents, are they? The agents at Les Arbres are like his children.
His children, yeah. So, which is, number one dad of the year. Father's Days must have been something.
But it's interesting. Did you think it's realistic how like OP Patrice is? Because he gets shot a few times, he gets run over by a cab.
Yeah, they make. Some people are just built different, man.
I know they make a joke about him being a Terminator.
Yeah, but and he actually, I love to watch an interview with him when this comes out, where he's like, "What was your inspiration for a character?" I just watched T1 and T2, and that was it. It's like, yep. That's two on the nose.
But I remember reading the book, and Patrice, and you don't really see the other agents, do you? It's just him. Patrice is pretty OP, and I guess Harkness is as well, because he's able to like blend in and move around and stuff. But Patrice is seriously like,
he seemed
Jason Bourne. Jason Bourne. It's like something from Jason Bourne. There you go.
Yeah,
and those whatever they call their agents in that, assets. Are they called assets? I think.
Yeah.
I
think before, so Patrice leaves, then there's this scene where it's shows that Frank might kill Molly on the spot, but he leaves 5 letters with the names of Mac Peterson, Jamie Lanford. I actually paused and wrote all of this down. Claude Whelan, who's at the first desk at the moment, Jean Fraser and Natalie Hensley, who we assume are very important people. So that's just kind of there parked up until I think it will probably come up again the next episode. But really good scene. Really good scene. I really like the part where he goes into a door and it's like, "Where's your ID? Can I see your ID?" And he just shows her the gun and it's like, "Well, yep."
Yes. That
wasn't he
was
like
very
he was like,
nice.
I'm here about the leak or something, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he was like patting himself down to find his idea, I was like, oh no, he's gonna bring something out. It was a go.
I legit thought
The
he was going to
camera
kill.
work was amazing in that scene. The camera work was really good. Like following her, she turns around to
And
see
it's like you're
him
always kind of always on.
slowly.
Yeah.
You're on
On
the
edge.
edge.
He's so menacing as well. Like,
Yeah,
because obviously
it was really great.
Love him as like Elrond, but him playing bad guys is just something different. Obviously, that Matrix as well. He just gets what he's doing.
Well, he wasn't a bad guy in V, but he was still doing his thing.
He's like an anti-hero.
Anti-hero, I guess.
Because he still blows up shit, isn't he? And
gotta blow up shit, man. Well, he's blown up shit here as well. To be fair, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's getting other people to do his dirty work for him. He's getting his children actually to do his dirty work for him.
He's lazy.
What guy?
A lazy guy.
He's just lazy and outsourcing his work. You know, just like everyone in every boss in every other office just can't do their own work.
Lazy people. Then we get to the after. I guess like the right after episode 4, when Flight catches River at the Cartwright residence, and it's that kind of it's that scene as like, what are you doing here? I'm taking you back to the park for questioning, and Cartwright's like, no, don't do that.
I need to see
and everything. And Taverna, go on.
What did you think about River going back home? Did you think that was...
Well, he had to connect the dots, though. I think he had he just had to confirm his priors, didn't he, in terms of, I know something might be wrong, and I think I've seen this picture before.
He finds out some intel from the house, and that's where he, that's how he would find out, innit?
That's how we found out about the postcard. So you see this, the postcard, because initially I thought it was his grandfather's stuff, but it was actually through his stuff where he makes the connection.
I initially thought it was the grandfather's stuff as well, because it's obviously the grandfather's. It's obviously David's house, but it's his and his mum's. Is this the? We haven't seen his mum in the show. Have we ever seen his mum in the show?
No. So
I don't think his mom has even been discussed much. Really,
that really kind of surprised me when Louisa, I guess, was on the bus with the other Slough House people and called his mom, and I was like, okay, where did this come from?
Yeah,
but I guess we'll get to
his mum does appear in the books, but
I'm really fascinated by.
I wonder who they'll cast as his mum. That would have to be someone quite well known, you'd think. Do we know who played the mum on the phone?
I think that. Oh, that's a really good question. That's a really good question that I can't answer.
Did she sound familiar?
It was such a short. It was such a short amount of time. I couldn't tell.
Yeah,
they might have gotten someone to play the mom phone, because I know in White Lotus season 1, there's a phone call that happens to, or season 2, there's a phone call that happens to someone, and it was like Laura Dern on the back of the phone or something like that. So they do sometimes get people to do voice work with phone calls. So
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think
I'm really fascinated by his relationship with his mom. I really want to know more
about their relationship there.
the mother, and also I think I want to know more about the young her and how she got herself in a situation like that, because it seems like she wasn't the same as the other breeders.
Breeders. Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess that's what they. I guess that's what they. They were. Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Yeah, she seems like she was there somewhat on her own accord.
Yeah,
and she had more. She had more freedom than the other ones.
It's a very.
Yeah, it seems.
It's a very weird. It's a very weird. What would you call it? Cult, family, community. I guess we'll call it community, but
yes, I definitely think it's a cult. It's like a commune.
Yeah,
it's a commune, but commune isn't political or have any. Sorry, not political. Have any negative connotations, but it is a bad commune.
Basically, mercenaries, basically, aren't they?
Yeah, like
mercenaries.
like a mercenaries commune or something like that.
they're literally like, it's like, have you both watched Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're like the second sons, but they're just sons.
Which ones were the second sons?
The second sons were the ones with Daenerys. That's where we meet. What's the guy Daenerys was shagging, but she had to leave him at Marine.
Oh my gosh, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, what the guy they
replaced?
The guy they recast.
Yeah, they recast. Yeah,
and he looked nothing like the first guy.
No, I think Ed Skrein was his. Yeah, Ed Skrein was initially.
Yeah, and they looked, and the two actors looked and sounded nothing alike.
No,
which made it really confusing.
Yeah, those are the second sons.
Wait, am I mistaking the person?
I think this is about series 4 or 5, then, isn't it, of Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
yes.
It's been so long since I've seen that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
I think I'm remembering.
Dario? Is he called Dario?
Dario, there we go. Yeah,
Novartis or something like that. Yeah,
Dario Naharis.
Okay, now I remember.
I'm pumped. I remember that.
Kind of what Frank has
it's
put
been
together.
10 years since I've seen that series, and about as long since I've read the books. Still got
There's a really funny scene with after this episode, just put on Second Sons Daenerys on YouTube. There's a really funny scene when they meet each other. But anyway, back to Sons.
I think I remember that too. Yeah.
Back to Sons. That's a good.
Wait, but why was that?
Why
was that your? That was a good segue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm on about the mercenaries. They're like the.
Oh, okay. So mercenary cult. That makes sense as a comparison.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to ask. Yeah. Okay.
Like, where's the connection there? But
it's a son.
I think Tavernier is spooked, right? So she kind of wants all this mess cleared up, and she wants Flight to bring the passport back to the Adam Lockhead and passport back to her. But Flight is a bit like, what's going on? So
it really annoyed me all through this.
What is she?
What about it? Didn't you like about her?
She just like I liked her at the start. But as time went on, she became like a deterrent. I was like, I know you're not trying. I know you're thinking you're doing the best, but for a second, just stop and listen to people that've been there longer than you for a second. Like, just do what they say. Just like 2 seconds, just do. Because she was just like, eventually. But then she sends the photo to what's her name, DT, instead of sending it directly to Diana. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think she's still trying to like do what she thinks is best, which is very natural in a situation like that. But I also think at some point just kind of like relax and just let the situation happen for a second.
Listen, man, she's been getting played like a fiddle by everyone this season.
She has been.
Yeah, I can't really blame her for being.
I don't blame her, but it just made me, when something happens and you're just like, oh, fuck's sake. But it makes the plot better. But yeah,
it does
stronger.
She has a really good arc across the books, so I'm excited to see how they kind of do some of the stuff that happens to her character. And they kind of hinted it in this. Well, you might touch on it later with her and Louisa.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, they become quite.
But
quite
I was also really, really annoyed by her like inaction in the shooting scene. Like, just do something. I guess she was traumatized.
You don't mean?
But surely she's been in a situation like this.
She was well shell shocked, man, because she said she was in the.
She did have her head whacked against
the meds.
Yeah, she did have her head smashed in. To be fair,
she might have been concussed.
She wasn't whacked at that point when she was in the front seat.
She was, wasn't she? When Frank and River are there, no, because Patrice.
Yeah, she was. She was whacked after that happened, wasn't she?
No,
before. She's whacked first.
That happened.
Because the cab scene with Patrice happens before Frank and River and all the shooting stuff.
Yeah,
and then she hits her head, and then she might have been concussed. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I mean,
she's probably a bit disorientated.
She was absolutely stunned and shell shocked.
Patrice battered her a bit.
Yeah,
and she's all bloodied. Yeah,
I felt bad after, but in the moment, I was like, "Do something."
She was trying to do something.
I'm that annoying person that pretends like they know better than the people doing the thing. Like watching the Olympics and being like, why didn't they just run faster?
Oh God,
Oh no.
Or something like that.
you become like an expert
Clearly.
judge on
Did
some
you
like
like
niche sports after 5 minutes
Yeah,
after watching the sport.
exactly. I'll be like, you know what he should have done? I know what he should have done.
Commanded the horse a bit better, you know.
Did you like
Sorry,
the
what
stuff
were you saying, Chris?
with River and Flight? Or no? You know, the cabs.
Yes, I love the
Yeah.
stuff with River and Flight. I actually think that was my highlight of my whole flight experience. Was
Oh really?
was River and Flight in the car, and they were speaking, and I felt like it was one of the first times that someone's been like River sometimes doesn't give too much in terms of he is either quite snarky or doesn't really respond because of his situation in Slough House. But I
He tries
feel
to do
like for
everything by himself. Yeah.
the first time they were like on the same level of what's the word? I don't know.
Just on the same wavelength.
Responsiveness.
Because it's
Like,
the first
on the
time that
same wavelength. It's like the same level of cheek in a way, but not really cheek. It's like kind of abrasiveness. Yes, abrasiveness.
it's the same.
With
I
them.
think it's the first time when someone has actually been genuine with her.
True.
And
The whole how many hours she's been working as
it's
head
like
of the
just dicking her
dogs.
around or playing her
Days.
about. And this is the first time where it's like, well, I actually don't have any time to be messing about right now because I need to save my granddad. And that's why she sends that information to Katie. Was this the episode with Claude and Tavernier? Was that episode 6? That might be episode 6.
Yes. I mean, Claude and Tavernier had another go
6.
at each other in episode. Was it when they found
no, it was
out?
This episode. It was this episode.
It was
I
this
guess
episode on the floor. They had a go at each other on the floor this time when he said shoot to kill.
Yeah.
Was
I
that
really liked this episode. I really liked the
5. I don't know.
Yeah, I really liked the interaction with Claude Tavernier when he was like, "I'm going to share my screen." He couldn't get his.
That was funny, but also
it's like it's much better with the screen.
It was realistic, and then her response was funny. He was like, "I know where all these places are. You don't need to show me."
Paris,
and then he was like, "I could just show you the screen." And then he's like, "Oh, I don't know how to plug the cable in."
And it's like that's not important.
And it was like a moving graphic showing like where the pinpoints on the globe is. It was so unnecessary.
Something blew up there. Here someone blew up. There's a suicide bomber here. Then there was an assassination here. Just some, and it was just like
it's
this
kind of her reaction as well. Her comedic timing is just so on point.
I find Claude like just the funniest and like loveliest like to watch. I'm just like, what is your deal? And how did you get
what the hell is going on here? Yeah.
Yeah, because like I think
but he grows. He
They eventually get on the same path though in that during that conversation where like they just have to bury everything, kill all the leads, wipe all their tracks from it. But what was that? He had a good phrase where it was like, "Everlasting silence sounds really good right now" or something. And yeah, because I think initially my thought was they were about to send Geety to the bloody Shadow Realm, and they call her up to the room, and I was like, "Oh, what's going to happen here?" And it's like, "Yeah, I've done it." It's like, "Done what?" "Yeah, I've put it on the system." So that's when we found out that Flight has sent over the Adam Lockhead information, and she's put it on the system. And once it's on the system, it can't be deleted, can it? It can't be edited or modified.
But didn't she say she copied in Claude so that he'd get it as well?
Yeah, and
then he's like, "Shit," and opens up his phone.
Yeah, you guys mentioned it, but he has this way of just acting really like I'm fucked. He has like the best I'm fucked face like ever.
Oh, he does.
And it's just amazing.
A little
comedy,
bit of a mess.
Yeah, that's what. I just can't get over the sharing screen, man. That was just, I just can't get it to work. The cable or something.
So
and I think Geety actually sort of plays the joke back where she was like, "Oh, can I share my screen as well?" or something. And it doesn't work. Just don't bother. Just get to the point. Tavernier's face just like, "Oh, what am I doing here with these people?"
I actually really like Tavernier and Whelan, to be honest. It's a really funny duo of people.
Yeah.
really nice.
It's a completely different dynamic to Ingrid and Diana.
Completely different dynamic. Although I love the ending of Ingrid and Diana. I love how it ended.
Yep.
It all ended.
That whole back and forth was fantastic. Closing. But this is a lot funnier. But still, still tense as well.
Yeah. Leads us to Lamb. Well, the Slough House and Lamb wasn't really much. Actually, I guess in Slough House there was the two big talking points was Moira, basically finding out why she was in Slough House in the first place, and Marcus Shirley, that was still going on. I guess that's kind of where we find out about kind of River's mom as well through Louisa, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and she was like, Louisa said something like, "This family, oh my goodness," and it's true because I was thinking the exact same thing. She was a representation for the audience, like, what is going on with this family? Why are they so dysfunctional?
Yeah, I think it was really funny when Louisa was like, "You sold your gun to Dancer." And it's like, yeah, everyone just knows who Dancer is. It's like, yeah, the MI5 know that you're selling guns to somebody, but it's just part and parcel of society. There has to be that one person buying all the guns, and but he only sells to organized crime, doesn't sell to any random street gangsters. So we need to get that right. We need to get that right.
Yeah, it's an important distinction. It's a moral. It's an ethic. It's ethics basically.
Yeah. So get back to Moira. So the reason why she's in Slough House, we found out through her, is basically, was it an Agent Galahad liked ladies or liked sex workers basically, and she found out about it, so they had to get rid of her. Was that correct interpretation of that scene?
Was it because then when she has a conversation with Claude about it, he was like, he kind of pretended it was about like parking tickets or some weird shit, didn't
he? Yeah,
I don't know if that was like correct. if that was like code for the fact that he'd done something dodgy, like gone to a brothel or strip club.
No, I think that was code that he had bought, like paid for sex work. Because he talks about it. He's like, he stopped for he says something like, "I stopped for a conversation."
Listen, man, we all need a conversation.
I was asking for directions. I just happened to be in that vicinity, and she said, and they have their whole coded conversation. He ends with like, "Oh, I wouldn't be, going to those ends to ask for directions.
I'll be asking for directions again,
or something. I'll be asking for directions again, or something." So I think it's definitely that he paid for sex work. She found out about something
Moira
to do with that, and then she got sacked to protect his image. Yeah.
I guess that leads us on to Lamb, who had he didn't really appear much in this episode, but
it's an awful episode for Jackson Lamb.
Yeah, just kind of, but it was him, Stanish, and
was it not
David,
him and
basically picked him up from.
Does he not go to Sam Chapman's flat in episode 5?
That was 6.
Or is that 6?
That was 6. Yeah, that was 6. 5 was they drove to Rosie Cartwright, who's supposed to be David Cartwright's.
Oh yes, he goes to the grave with David.
I felt like that was a very, very good idea to bring him there to jog his memory, to get him to realize that maybe if something's on the line now, there's something on the line before, and make him speak.
Yeah, that's how we find out. So I think that's kind of how where things kind of start to make sense for someone who hasn't read the books like myself. Well, we eventually found out that why was this trade for a girl so important? Basically giving this mercenary group guns and money and all this kind of bad stuff. Then kind of figure out that this was actually his daughter, who is River's mom, and we're able to make the connection that, oh shit, Frank is River's dad. What the fuck? So basically did all of that to get his daughter back. So he used the service for his personal gain, kind of. And the reason why he had to be taken out, is because those are the only two people who can link West Acres bombing to Frank's group, and that's why they have to be out. So any connection to West Acres is on the kill list, which is kind of why I think Marcus and Shirley had to be gone as well.
Because they worked out there was a connection there,
So, because I mean, everyone's just trying to clean up their tracks, and
the reason they would have had to be killed is probably because they'd seen Patrice.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they could have put two and two together. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really liked that scene because you're kind of like, oh, because I actually never really. Ayisha, did you actually ever make that connection before they actually said it? Were you able to make that connection?
What connection?
Which connection? Daughter.
Which particular the daughter connection?
Was.
Sorry.
The daughter in the exchange was.
The daughter. The daughter was what? The daughter in the exchange was Rivers. Was Rivers' mom.
Rivers' mom and David's daughter.
But I knew the daughter in the. I thought the daughter in the exchange. Who did I think daughter? I can't remember who I thought daughter in the exchange.
Girl in the exchange.
But I thought she was like a young agent or something. But I couldn't really track Rivers' mom. I had a feeling that she would have been related, but I couldn't really track. But I thought, okay, young agent or something. I was more interested with the idea that she was there and didn't want to leave. That was my whole. I wasn't really thinking about her identity. I was kind of thinking, why did she slap him? Why did she want to stay in this place? There's something interesting psychologically going on there. But no, I didn't connect the dots in the sense to Rivers' mom at all. But I did get a bit suspicious when they called Rivers' mom, and then she didn't really care on the phone. I was like, oh wait, is she connected somehow? And then I couldn't figure it out until they told me. I thought the granddad would be way more implicated in this. I had a feeling he had like some grand plan, but turns out he actually was going through mental decline due to old age, which I think I just didn't want to accept because that alone is so sad. So I just wanted to think that he was actually pretending.
It did trigger his memory though, when they visited the grave, and then also the reason, because she was like, when they said River was misidentified as someone else, because she was like, how would that happen? I thought she was then going to say, oh, I have another son who looks like River.
That's like another question I was about to ask. So was that Adam Lockhead, was that her son as well?
Must be, because he looks so much like River.
Yeah.
So you'd assume if it's both parents, and they could be like, if not twins, similar looking. So David, but they don't actually tell you that in the show, do they? But so he did effectively kill his grandson. No. Yes,
grandson. Yeah, if that was.
I don't think the book tells you that either. But like, because they had Jet Loudon.
Do you think David knows? David knows that Adam Lockhead could have been his grandson.
No,
I think he just knew it wasn't River, and then but I don't know. But oh fuck, that's an interesting. Excuse my language. Sorry, that's an interesting thing. I'd never really thought about that he did actually potentially kill his grandson.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, because I was thinking like, oh, okay.
The only person I think who knows the answer to that is Mick Herron, I guess.
Or Frank Harkness as well.
Yeah, but the reason they surely picked, because Jet Loudon played the other actor as well, or the other character. If they're that similar, it has to be that they were brothers, But then Patrice didn't look like him, so
and like they're full on brothers, not like step brothers or half brothers or anything. It's like same mom, same dad. So
not it's not necessarily the same mum for the others, is it? Because he went through he went through a number of breeders.
Yeah, there were a lot of girls there, and
But the one who was played by the Jet Loudon probably would be like 100% brother.
Yeah.
Oof. Dark.
Yeah, and that's I think they eventually decide on taking David to Slough House to hide there for a bit and camp there. And I really did not like that plan. I felt like, if you're a target, it should be either I guess because he couldn't go to the park, could he?
If he goes to the park, he's incriminating himself.
He's incriminating himself. But I kind of thought you want to keep moving. You know, you want to
surely do the partner want to debrief him anyway? Like that's a bit odd because they know
eventually after,
because don't they know that he didn't really kill River?
Yeah.
So are they not going to ask him?
But
I don't know.
They don't know yet actually because they're still. I guess we can move on to episode 6 now.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, just we're still on 5 and 6, but when River eventually is kidnapped from flight, so we spoke about the jacking from Patrice and taken to Frank. He's like, hello, Dad, which eventually confirms what we've all been thinking, that's his dad, and eventually tries to recruit him, but doesn't go really well. At that moment in time,
he's kind of trying to recruit him, but he's also criticizing him.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
So he's like, you'd be so much better off with me, but then he lists loads of things that River's not very good at.
No, and it's I mean, such an unsatisfied parent, isn't he? And it's just and he's not really I guess that's not in his character, but he's not very. There's no contrition about what he's done. It's like, do you guys love each other? And he's like, no, she loved me. I didn't really love her in a colder way as well. And I was like, wow, this guy's really, really evil. But I mean, really well played by Hugo Weaving. I'm not gonna lie, he does.
He's good. I mean, and gradually pulling him in. Giving him 5 minutes here or there until these last couple, and then giving him a massive role. Works really well because he just has amazing screen presence. No matter what he's kind of looking like or doing, he's always someone you want to see on screen, and it is quite nice to have him in more stuff because it feels like he's not been in much lately.
Nah, I'm just kind of thinking. Well,
the only thing I've seen him in maybe in the last 5 years is something called the Royal Hotel. I think it was called, which is like an outback a survival thriller.
Was he in The Crown?
Was he in The Crown? Let's have a look. I know Jonathan Pryce was.
Yeah.
Nothing in The Crown I can see. So yeah, he's not done a huge amount the last 10 years.
Oh, I'm on about the other guy.
Prince Philip.
I'm so bad with names these days. Guy Pearce. He was in The Crown, wasn't he?
Was Guy Pearce in The Crown? No, Guy Pearce was in The King's Speech.
He was in I know he was in something where he had to play like a really posh.
Yeah, he played Queen's dad, didn't he, in The King's Speech?
In The King's Speech, right?
Not the Queen's dad, sorry, the Queen's uncle. And they're both
King's Speech, by the way, should not have won.
They're both Aussies, aren't they, as well?
Are
they both British-born Australians, I think?
Yeah. Well, I think Hugo Weaving was born in like Lagos or something.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's classed as a British actor.
Yeah, but obviously his parents were like expats there.
Born and raised in Australia. And then Guy Pearce was born in England and moved to Australia. That was a random conversation, sorry.
It's fine.
I'm a big fan of both of them. And can we get Guy Pearce into the Slow Horses universe, please? And thank you.
Yes.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
I mean, why not, man? Why not?
He'd be great. And he's always in that kind of... Because he was in that Spy Among Friends thing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
What's the actor's name that played River's dad?
Played Kim, didn't it?
Hugo Weaving.
Oh, that's who you...
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, yeah.
There's this French actor that died recently, Alain Dion.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the... is it The Samurai? Which is basically...
Le Samurai.
By The Killer and other those kind of movies. And yeah, really good in that. Really, really good in that. But
he looked so stylish in that with the hat and everything.
Yeah, I mean, what did the kids say these days? He had a face card that wasn't declining.
A face card.
Yeah, oh my god!
But yeah, because people said he was like one of the most handsome actors who ever lived, or something, didn't they? Like he wasn't
bad looking,
an aesthetically pleasing gentleman.
Just a little bit, just a little bit fascist.
The one that they called a fascist, yeah.
Speaking of fascist,
because he was a father, and then also he wouldn't accept fatherhood of his son from.
Did he kill someone as well?
Probably, I don't know.
Yeah, allegedly.
So he had a son like legally with this actress Nico, who was a singer as well, and then apparently he never accepted that it was his son, and then the son in the last 10 years basically sued him for like bad parenting.
Listen,
it's awful.
I think sometimes you're just bored. You just get on Wikipedia. Then you just
see which celebrities are dodgy. Yeah, there's more than you think. To be honest,
have you guys gone on Coco Chanel's Wikipedia? That is a trip and a half right there.
What, that she
I have.
That she spied for the Nazis and stuff like that.
Talk about talk about twists, man. That was crazy. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, there was an Apple TV show about that called the New Look.
Yeah,
which is about her kind of doing some Nazi stuff.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I think
allegedly.
Yeah, that's one of the craziest Wikipedia pages I've ever read in my life. But anyways, back to fascists. Frank Harkness, right? He was.
We're just so good at podcasting.
I'm literally getting better at these segues.
Good at linkage.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I think this is kind of talking about like basically the conversation with River. And how it's like confirmation about like how River's his dad, how he's not apologetic about, basically using his mom to breed and all the bad shit he's done. And we eventually found out that West Acres was actually not the plan.
Yes.
Did we not
an outburst.
But did we not know that already?
Yeah.
Well, we knew that.
Well, River mentions it to Flight.
I think we knew it had gone wrong before, didn't we? But then in this one, River's like, so it was a declaration against you or something, doesn't he say that?
Yeah.
Or it goes like it was a statement against you.
Yeah, and he's trying to, I guess, eventually ties up to the scene with the what led to believe is a prince that was kind of talking about early on last episode.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to clean that up, which is basically what, the murders and everything is about. So, yeah, it's a scene that I think eventually calls back up. Flight and Louisa and the dogs get there. So the instruction from Tavernier is kill Frank, bring River in for questioning. But Claude basically rescinds her instructions and it's like, just kill them both. It's like, because we need to clean up our stuff from our end, so I think nothing really gets out. And it's so good where he's like, "Oh, drop your guns," and they eventually drop it. And River's like, "No, get your guns up."
No, he's got a gun. Keep your guns up.
He's got a gun. Keep your gun up. So Frank, just father of the year, basically, sets off a grenade, puts in his jacket.
Oh, that was so good.
That was so good.
Because
there's actually like
I
see the struggle.
I must have missed the frame, so I thought he'd dropped it where he was, and it was legit in his hood. And then Louisa chucks it, and it goes off. And I was like, oh,
and just goes off. And
then he's like, Louisa, leave me alone. And I'm just like, do you know what she's trying to do? She's trying to save your life.
Why did they rescind the shoot River? Is that because he was being held hostage?
Well, it was more like. In the case that Frank would have recruited River, there might be another, basically ex-MI5 person, not even a cold body, an open, live body, who could eventually or potentially do some dirty work in the future. So Claude was like, just get rid of him straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
Good old executive decision. And it was another lovely chase through King's Cross. I don't know, was Louisa helping or was she just getting the coats, taking the coats off even more difficult? It's like, reminded me of that scene in Lock, Stock where at the end, where they were all calling the guy who was about to throw the guns off and it's like, all of us shouldn't, we're going to clog the lines. Let's not all call, only one person should call. But
I think, it was like, I think it was the same trope of like, are you helping or are you hindering the entire last few episodes with everyone? It's like everyone is a few steps behind and the people that really know what's going on are only a few people. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was another good chase through King's Cross. That was King's Cross, right? It has to be King's Cross.
It was King's Cross. It was Granary Square, King's Cross. They went to King's Cross.
Because they say... Because Roddy's like the bar they meet at is... It looked like it, to be honest.
But it did look like it in some shots. But sometimes they shoot in other stations to make it
I was
look
saying
like
this on
it's
the last
station.
one. There were a couple I was like, I can't tell if that's right. But then there were.
I think this one's correct. But it was definitely King's Cross when they were running across the bridge. That was near Courthouse Yard. Like all of that was correct.
That's your ends.
It's nice around there. Trendy part of London.
Yeah.
That's where I reside.
Yeah. Eventually, I think River remembers the quote about, if you're being pursued, just sit still. So
it is a very smart. It is a very smart thing to say. I think.
I feel that's the sort of thing that works. Well, it works in movies, but in real life, it's like you sit still. True. They're like, oh, that's him there.
Also, do you not think in real life there would be more force? There would be more agents deployed in a situation like this?
Maybe it was
so. This is like your post-trap thoughts, just sneaking.
It was
in
fast developing, though, wasn't it?
So, it is.
So maybe
no,
it was
because like I already think like I was.
There,
I mean, the other day. This is such a random story, but the other day I was somewhere and I just saw these hosts of police cars just there. It was like near Somerset House, and basically,
was that because of the fire?
No, okay, before the fire. Actually, fun fact: I work in Somerset House, and I was there right before the fire. So this is very funny. So very fun fact about that. That was very funny, and my whole family thinks that I'm the one that starts the fire. Now it's a running joke.
Insurance, house job, man.
Yeah, they think that my brother thinks I've left the country to flee from starting the fire. So
get that insurance payment out.
I'm basically on the run, guys. Anyway, so no, yeah, the host of police cars, and there were loads of them. So I just feel I don't know. Maybe that's like I'm just like there not be more forces. I don't know.
I mean, there are a lot though. No. Yeah, a lot of forces there, but
no. But I love the chase. I was a bit confused by why. God, what is it? I keep forgetting his name. Hugo Weaving's character was
Frank.
Frank was pushing all the people down on the escalator, and then I was like, "Oh, he's creating a deterrence." But first, I was like, "You don't have to do that. Like, just run." I don't get it.
I mean, I don't really agree. I was
like, "Oh, I get why he's doing it."
I don't really agree with Frank for a lot of things, right? But anything. But that was the one time I was like, "Yeah, there's always that annoying person that you would go in, but they're just in your way. Just want to fling them away." Good old London attitude. But eventually apprehends Frank and takes him back to the park for questioning. And he's quite confident though, because he's like, "You're gonna let me out, you're gonna let me out soon." And while this is going on, Lamb finds Chapman dead, and eventually find out that Patrice is actually on his way to Slough House. Before that, actually, what's his face? Marcus actually gets his gun back from the gangster, which is just hilarious. Hilarious, but not hilarious, because he actually relapses and has to gamble because he sold his gun for $3,000, but he has to buy back for $5,000, which he doesn't have. So he has to go to the casino close by and gamble and win back the money, which he does. So, I mean, there's like this huge shootout in Slough House because David Cartwright is now there. I guess we've spoken about the plan where I wasn't really a big fan of the plan. I thought David Cartwright should have been moving about. But I guess like if he's moving about, then because Patrice was able to just take down the 4 dogs in the truck, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that situation, which is not great. So it's that scene was because shoots Ho, then what?
Because he thinks it's been shot, and then when Standish looks at it, he's like, "It's a scratch. It's not even
scratch. Yeah.
It's not even from being shot." He was funny in this episode because he does do a lot of good. Is the thing, like he actually finds out the intel on people, like he finds out the intel on that scandal with Claude that we said, but also he's such a wet blanket.
We eventually found out who the Galahad, agent. So Galahad is supposed to be an agent, right? or an operation? Because initially I thought Claude was just a diplomat, office, basically suit and tie.
I'm not really sure. I thought that stuff wasn't particularly well explained, I don't think.
No.
But
yeah, because he gives her the, who exactly Galahad is. And it's Claude, which eventually leads to, the conversation at the end about her blackmailing him about getting the job back. And he's like, I want a 4-day week and a pay increase. And he's like,
yes.
But then he was like, is that it? Yeah, bye.
I liked it. I liked how sure she was of her demands and her just going, this is what I want. And that's it. Leave me alone. Like,
I think it was
you
more
get,
because it wasn't too much of an ask.
Yeah.
I don't think it was also, yes, I also think another thing is also she wasn't asking for that much.
That's, yeah. He probably had like a little fist pump. It was like, that's it. Like,
he's probably thinking it internally, being like, "Oh,
great." He's like, "I'm gonna go back and ask for directions." That's what I want.
That was lovely. So what's lovely? The sun out here is sunning right now.
Well, it's a nice sunset man. Here. It's lovely.
But eventually leads to the big shootout at Slough House, and I mean, this is like, it's just Hollywood 101, movie magic, TV magic. When someone is like, "Don't worry, I got this. This is all under control. You have nothing to be worried about." And eventually,
he knew. And I think he had this really nice tiny arc go on. I think you've just spoken about it already. This in these few episodes, that was really nice in terms of he sort of, I mean, he has had his issues with gambling, but him immediately going to get it back and just going, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm going to have to lose the money because I have to protect everyone. And this
let's get the gun back, yeah.
And being virtuous in that way, only to die with the same gun that he bought back, I think was a really nice kind of
the whole scene with JK was so funny as well. Because it's like, now's not the time to make a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember it's like you just knew something was going to happen, and he's like,
yeah, you knew he was going to use it for something.
Yeah,
when he shoots him and then just puts his earphones back on and fucks up.
Yeah, it's that was.
But also because he's been a bit of a non-entity this series. Like, he's there, but he does nothing. And in this episode,
is he like in the book?
Very, very similar. Like, he always has his headphones in, and I think it takes maybe 2 or 3 books to get to know him. I feel like that's the same with all the characters. I feel like in their first series, they're there, and then they get more development the more they're in the show. Because I feel like Marcus and Shirley had the most development series before this one, because he had all the stuff with those 2 at the warehouse, and then this series they've still been in it, a decent amount, but it's not really about them, and so I think they've kind of struggled to find things for them to do.
Phenomenal acting by the lady who plays Shirley. Is it Amy Fionn Edwards or something?
Oh, she's great.
She's great now. When she was like, I'm trying to kill him, I was like, don't do it. You move to live with yourself.
He's like, what would you know about what he'd want?
Yeah, exactly. And then when she's like, I'm a better shot than you, she is a better shot. Or is she?
She has just killed people, though.
Yeah, she has.
Yeah.
I thought it was very interesting that Jackson told her not to go and look at Marcus's body. Jackson, I feel like, has had a real emotional growth this episode, because I feel like he just lost his friend. And he's just
that was
his friend's body.
He's very in the show and in the book. I think he's very, when one of his agents gets killed, he takes that very, very personally, because it's people under his protection, and and the whole stuff with Taverner saying that his family will get 5 years tax-free salary.
I love that.
And then he's like, no, make it 10 years because he was an active service, And I think that's the most, as you said, like his personal growth. I think he always cares, but you just don't see it because he's such a pig.
Yeah.
I think he's see it, but when someone dies, he definitely gets gets down to business.
You see that he cares and that there is a softer side to him, but he just hides it so well. But also, you see, and you saw this in the last series, with the whole house, where they had the fight in the house, where he's like laying booby traps. Whereas this, like, when he's needed, he comes in and muscles and takes out Patrice.
Yeah.
It's so for a guy of his size and age, he's still surprisingly Well, we've also had that in this series with the cab.
Good.
You think he's running off, and then he hits Patrice with the cab. So he saves the day. He saves the day a few times.
He does. He's very good at doing that, saving the day last minute.
That was some good stuff. I really like how he's able to play, like, give him 10 years tax-free salary. Then after, Tavernet asked him, like, so when you die, who's going to take all your money? And he's like, I propose a marriage of convenience.
Marriage of convenience. I love that.
I'd rather die. That was just,
because
that's the horses for me. That's why I really like the show.
Because we missed those two having like an interact. Because obviously we haven't really had the chance to with everything going on, but we haven't had like we haven't had like their late night bench meetups.
No,
in Camden or wherever it is they meet up. Is it Camden? They meet up on that the bench by the water.
Is that Camden? Oh,
is it Camden? I don't know.
It's Angel by the canal.
Angel.
Oh, okay.
I knew it was by the canal. I just couldn't work out where.
I love to move to that area. That looks so nice.
So is this
that's my dream.
Is this the first time we've seen the two of them together this series?
No, there was one point when he picked her up and it was really raining.
Oh yes. But there's been very few meetups between the two of them.
Very few meetups, yeah.
Which is
less farting from Jackson this season
and less holes in his socks.
I feel like he's been moving around, just kind of going from place to place.
But he had his whiskey in that scene, didn't he? So
he did.
Something.
He deserves his whiskey. His friend just died, and
I think that's why he was drinking it. He was toasting Marcus,
a day.
Just left the money, left the cash, searched him up, took his ID, took the whiskey.
Speaking of Marcus, I only realised scrolling through Kadif Gowon's wiki that he was in Fleabag as Anthony the hairdresser.
I need to rewatch Fleabag, actually.
Oh, I can't remember. I haven't rewatched Fleabag.
But there's that scene where he's like, hair is everything, Anthony.
Is he the one that cuts the hair?
He cuts Claire's hair badly.
Yes, okay.
But it's such a completely different... I mean, obviously it's a one episode role, but he's so good.
He's in, I think, Black Mirror as well, the Nosedive episode.
My Policeman.
Where he's begging for...
Stranger? Oh, I didn't know he was in The Stranger. That was that thing with Richard Armitage.
I had a really minor episode.
God, he just pops up in stuff. Oh, This Is Going to Hurt. Was he Ben Whishal's boyfriend in This Is Going to Hurt?
Yeah, his TV...
yes, okay, maybe.
Sort of,
but he just pops up in stuff.
TV roles are huge.
But I feel like he's a great... this is a great role for him.
Character actor just pops up, does what he does, and kind of blends in between roles.
He'll be
see where it goes from here.
He'll be missed, but I mean...
He will be missed a lot.
I think it's probably quite a good springboard for some people. Like, look what happened to Olivia Cook. Although she probably filmed Slough Horses at the same time as House of the Dragon.
I was going to say at the same time.
Because they came out same month or something like that. Silly like
something
that.
Like that, yeah. I always forget.
I'm manifesting an Olivia Cook trajectory for the rest of our actors. Want to hear?
Yeah. I mean, she's not doing badly for herself, is she?
Nope.
I miss it. I mean, I don't. There's no indication. Well, people that haven't read the books, there's no indication that she's like fully dead. So, I mean, could she come back?
No. The show leaves it open.
Yeah, leaves it open, so we don't really know.
And the book left it open, as I'm not going to say either way.
So,
wait, what are you talking about? Olivia Cook in House of the Dragon?
No, Sid Baker in Slow Horses.
I was like, what?
No,
is she dead or isn't she dead?
I'm going some screeners.
Yes, I have a feeling she's going to come back. I haven't read the book, but
I would say
told us she's not alive or not.
We'll find out if the show lasts long enough. I think we'll find out.
Yeah. I mean,
do you think she'll come back and reprise her role?
The problem with that is I think this doesn't get wrapped up till book 6 or 7, and we're on book 4. Like as you say, she'd be quite big, and also by that point, would they want to resolve a series 1 arc in series 7? I don't know.
Probably not. Probably just drop.
And I'm trying to avoid spoilers as much as possible there.
The Oracle, you know everything. You're the real Oracle.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they changed something. So Sam Chapman in the book, I was reading it just before we came on to do this, is in the shootout where Marcus dies, and so he gets killed in that scene. But I think having him, did we see his dead body? We do, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so having him have his own death away from everyone else is kind of more impactful, I think.
It's more impactful.
Because having him...
It's like there's a slither of hope. You think he's going to survive, and he doesn't.
I think the actor would have asked for that as well.
Having him, have his own moment, and then Marcus have his, makes them both rather than the two happening together, and having two separate ones is more shocking as well, I think.
Yeah. It's it's interesting.
That was a really painful death for me.
Well, Sam Chapman.
I'm not often disturbed by deaths on TV. I often I think it furthers the plot. I always say this, but
it was Bruce.
It was really awful.
Is it end of episode? End of episode 4 when you see Patrice really that was probably the most gruesome.
Yes, but I think it wasn't the Patrice. The act of killing him was Jackson finding him.
Okay, that was gruesome.
Yeah, that was
especially as he was an
just
informant.
Knowing that Jackson is going to find him, and then Jackson keeps saying, Jackson keeps. Are they coming to get me?
They might be coming to get you. Yeah.
But it was more that they lay breadcrumbs to say that he might be okay, don't they? Because they're phoning.
Yes, and Jackson's like, I'm just gonna go find him, and then he goes. It's just it's awful. And I was emotionally affected by a lot of this episode, with also River's grandfather going into the old people's home. So that was also. But yeah, it was when Jackson comes back and he sees Standish, and Standish knows he went to go find Chapman, and he looks Standish, and it's just that silent thing of no, he's gone, he's dead.
He shakes his head or something, doesn't he? He goes,
he shakes his head, and
just a subtle indication.
It's rough.
It is a shame because Sam Chapman had a really good role to play in this series. So shame to not see him again.
Yeah, I think the thing about Slough House is it isn't afraid to kill off side characters.
No. No more laundrette meets.
No more laundrette meets.
I think it
Sammy
adds some realism to it, doesn't it? Because it's almost, these other shows or films, the spy stuff.
They're afraid to kill your beloved actors.
Yeah, I mean, in this, obviously, River's not. You wouldn't think River would ever end up dead, or possibly Louisa or Lamb. But outside of that, anyone go.
I think you could kill Louisa.
I think Louisa, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
they can't kill. I think River. I think makes sense because River also, I feel does things to evade death really quickly.
I think he does things to actually put himself in death, doesn't he?
Yes, no, yes, I do think but I also think he's not that. The only way River would be killed, I think, is by something quite sudden or unexpected. Which was the same for Louisa, I would feel, but I feel like the show probably has more of a stake on River's death.
I think he is the character. It's a bit like Tyrion in Game of Thrones, possibly. He's the character who has the biggest POV in the books and in the show, because he gets top. Does he get top billing? He gets top billing with Gary Oldman and Kristen Scott Thomas, I think.
Yes.
Probably those three then are the three that wouldn't get killed.
So I forgot Kristen's. Oh, you were the one that said that Kristen Scott Thomas was in 4 Winds and a Funeral. I completely forgot about that, and I remember that 2 days ago, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Very early role though, isn't it? And she's aged amazingly.
She has.
Oh,
what a role! Anyway,
funny link to another spy franchise with Kristen Scott Thomas.
Okay,
we watched. I was watching a Pierce Brosnan Bond film yesterday, and her sister was in it because her sister was a smaller actress, but an actress, and she pops up in this. So The World Is Not Enough, I think. One of the lesser Pierce Brosnan Bond films.
I'm so interested by famous actors or famous people that have these siblings that do small roles.
I mean,
their careers don't quite take off. Yeah, Luke Hemsworth, right? And Liam, actually, maybe.
No,
Liam,
Luke
was in Westworld, wasn't he? So.
Luke Hemsworth.
That's the one that's not as famous as the other two, right?
That's
Liam had The Witcher
Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth. Okay, I don't know Luke Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth is Thor, and he's in.
Yes, I don't know who Luke. I don't know who Luke is. I think.
It's the fourth Jonas brother. It's what are you doing?
Is there a fourth one brother as well?
Yes. Yeah, I know about the fourth Jonas brother.
It's like the Skarsgård brothers as well, or Skarsgård.
Oh, those. I mean,
there are like 10 of them, man.
Yes. I went through a bit of a Skarsgård obsession period.
There's loads
so I know
of them.
about
You've
all
got
of them. One is a doctor.
Well,
There's one girl.
I saw the Crow.
One girl.
I saw the Crow.
Okay, there's an actor
yesterday.
called Gustav Skarsgård.
Yes, Gustav.
Who was in
Is Gustav
Oppenheimer.
not the one? Yes.
God,
Which one was the one that was an If?
That's the one in the Crow.
That's the one who's in John Wick. Bill?
Yes. Bill. Yes, that's Bill.
I think
that's Gustav.
Alexander's the most.
Gustav in Vikings?
Yeah, Alexander was in The Northman and
Succession,
obviously.
What's that?
True Blood. He was in True Blood as well.
He was in True Blood, yes.
And he was in Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies. That's the show.
And he's in Atlanta, and he was in.
Is that Atlanta?
Yes, he is.
What the hell is he in Atlanta?
He is himself.
I remember the episode.
That is crazy. But all right, let's.
About it. But yeah, so Bill's probably done more movies, and Alexander's done a lot of TV. And some big movies.
So a lot of family dynamics like this show.
But yeah,
but yeah, I think the last thing we could talk about is well, Frank is quite confident about you've captured me, but I'm going to be let out in the next 12 hours unless.
Yeah, I was interested about that.
Unless he's going to release.
Why did they let him out?
Well, apparently he and his crew had been doing the dirty work for the service for like the past couple of years. They were like contractors, right? Doing all these things. I think that's kind of what Claude was showing Tavernier. So all these kind of guerrilla missions were all sanctioned by the service. And I think he said something about like when Cartwright got into the job, he told him to F off, but at the same time, they just carried on. So I guess they were doing it they were actually working as contractors because initially they were just kind of working as contractors to the service, but now they were just like to the highest bidder and just kind of doing what they want. And that's why. So it's like, the service basically enabled their acts and enabled the bombings of West Acres. That's kind of like the connection to be made.
Yes.
And I mean, that would be a huge shit show.
I think it's more they don't want the scandal to leak.
No.
And obviously, the worst thing for them seems to be bad PR.
Really bad PR.
But it seems like they always have it. At this point, they probably just look like, perfectly incompetent people, because the PR storyline is like every season,
it seems like
is about to get out, or do they save themselves right before?
That's it though. PR is very important, isn't it?
The irony is
yes, but I mean in their world, imagine how people view the MI5 with all the shit that's been going on in Slough House's world. Imagine living in that world. How you view the MI5.
But I think at the moment, I think the public, I don't think it'd be bad. I think it would just be, this is we need to catch these terrorists and make sure it doesn't happen. I don't think there'll be like a huge indictment on the MI5.
There would be like this. There would be.
For example, when Trump got shot, I don't think there was a huge. I mean, there was a little bit of backlash on the Secret Service, but it was more about the shooter, I think.
Yeah, but Trump getting shot is more of like an isolated situation, and it's different because he's like he's
such a
figure. And
divisive figure as well.
Assassination attempt.
Divisive, yeah. I still can't believe that.
But a lot of incidents happening that would seem random to the public is a question of safety,
Yeah,
and also
would the civilians,
would the public know the link between the isolated events as well?
No, at least not.
They wouldn't know the link, but they would think that they're living in some like Gotham City type.
I guess there'll be like some conspiracy
worlds where nothing ever. I'm walking down the street, boom, there's a bombing. Walking down the street, a taxi drives into a building. There's always something.
Yeah, there's always something going on in there. Yeah, very true.
But yeah, that's kind of where it ends, and it ends with like this big, I guess, River and Jackson about to get pissed in some local
I
pub.
really like this as an ending point because
You didn't?
Do I?
Because it's kind of like
No, he liked it.
Oh, he liked it.
It feels like the passing of the torch almost, or that there's this kind of silent recognition between the two of them, because he's, they're both kind of grieving different things. I guess River's grieving kind of the loss of his grandfather's independence.
Yeah,
and Jackson's obviously grieving the loss of Sam and the loss of Marcus.
Marcus, yeah.
And the fact they just, and then this, the whole, I'll have what he's having, but he says it silently. And the music was nice. Was it Nick Drake, I think? Lovely. It's just very poignant, and yeah, it's a good way to end it quietly, I think,
really, really
rather than anything sort of big and bombastic or whatever.
And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's Slough Horses season 4.
It.
Really liked
Drinking
it.
their sorrows together.
We
haven't talked about going into. Have we talked about him going into the old people's home? David Cartwright.
No, what do we think about that?
That was a good scene. I think there was one bit I really liked where he was like, "Who's going to come after me, Carla?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." I really like that reference on there.
Yeah, and also him asking, "How long do I have to stay here?" And I was like,
"Oh no," because he was like, "You've put me in a hotel."
Yeah.
And isn't it because he asked him never to put him in a home?
Yes.
Previously, and then he obviously was like, "What did I tell you not to do?" He was like, "You promised, River. You promised," and I was like, "Oh,
that was so sad."
Well, he's been exceptional.
Homes for the service, isn't? Well, I guess veterans. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said all the service people that are not inoperative.
Yeah.
Which would make sense. They have to go somewhere. Yeah, I really liked that, and also the fact that there was no conversation between River and David, with River being like, "You didn't tell me who my dad was," yada yada, and getting annoyed at him, which a lesser show would have done.
But they have the opposite.
They do have a conversation
because he goes,
yes, exactly.
He goes, "Are you not annoyed about me about that?" And
yes,
he's like, "No," and it just shows
I think
it's better.
I think it's
really,
better.
Really good. Yeah.
I think another show would have been like, he'd be pissed off at his granddad, and he'd be like, "Why didn't you tell me?"
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's unrealistic because understanding the circumstances, there was
because he still loves his grandson. His granddad, and his granddad treats him like a son. So because
River is about like,
because in the graveyard, isn't he like, "What happened to my boy?" or something like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was like, there's, because he was effectively raised by him and Rose.
Yeah, he was raised by.
That's the only family he's ever really had that's been close to him.
Yeah.
So that's so part of him probably breaks when
situation. You were breeded to be a killer, and your dad is a mercenary breeder, and your mother was. I need to know what's going on with the mother still. That needs to be resolved for me. But your mother like fell in love with him, and then
the storyline will probably hear about.
I think there'll be more Cartwright family dynamics in season 5, if not season.
If there's season 5,
I can't remember. Let me check what season it will be in, so I don't get carried away.
We're in 4 now, so it's like
it might be series 6. I kind of lose track of what happens.
I think greenlighted. They have greenlighted production for further seasons, haven't they?
5 is already filmed, I think. I think they filmed 5.
So good.
Always just keeps on coming.
Wow. It was either that they filmed 3 and 4 together, or they filmed 4 and 5 together.
Yeah.
But I think they've at least started production on 5, so we'd probably get that, I guess, this time next year.
Yeah.
So probably,
and we'll be back.
Yeah, probably September time next year.
Back again.
And we'll be back here covering.
I can't see them not renewing it, especially if this series does as well as it should do. They'll
do that well.
And I keep seeing tweets of people saying, "I'm discovering Slough Horses for the first time," and it's great.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been seeing that. My brother discovered Slough Horses.
Jump up in viewership numbers.
He was talking to me about that yesterday. So.
It's
there are never any negative. There are never any negative ones.
I think this season might be the season to get their kind of exposure, because it has all the things I think a laid back viewer will like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It has the action, fast paced,
witty
dialogue, and it moves quite smoothly. I think more smoothly than all the other seasons, even better.
Yeah. Okay.
How it can get better.
I found out which book the family dynamics get brought up in again, and it's Joe Country. So that's book 6. Book 6.
Okay.
So it's going to be series 6.
But I mean,
so I think they will leave. There's a bit of a gap. I think the plot goes on to something else, and then it comes back to it.
Probably Emma, maybe next.
Yeah, but there might be some hints in the next season. So I guess we'll wait
when
and see.
we have screeners, there are no previews for Series 5.
No.
But I imagine when it airs on TV that there will be because every series I think so far has had a little preview.
Yes, had a preview
of the next series. So there should be something previewing
London Rules. Shout, actually.
London Rules, I think.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And that's Slow Horses season 4. Thanks, Chris, and thanks, Ayisha, for.
The horses are getting faster and faster.
Thank you so much. It's
been on this journey. This was like the longest episode, I think, but it was a longer episode. So you needed episode 6 was a longer episode, so I think it deserved a longer podcast episode. So
yes,
absolutely.
Appreciate you guys coming up and speaking, and obviously, guys, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe on all our platforms. Slide in our DMs, message us about suggestions. About anything that you think would be helpful, you might want to hear, or you might have heard on the podcast and you just agree with or disagree with. And I guess we'll talk to you next year when season 5 is out. And thanks, guys. And I guess we'll see you guys later. Bye.